When you think of wine, France, Italy, and California are likely to come to mind first, but China is getting to work on grapes in a big way. Ningxia, about 500 miles west of Beijing, is home to more than 50 wineries. Seth Doan is in Beijing with China's unlikely path to the vineyard. Seth, good morning.
Good morning. With a population of nearly 1.4 billion people, it's not surprising that China would be the world's fifth largest consumer of wine. But unbelievably, now it is the world's fifth largest producer, and the industry is growing fast.
The desert in this part of China is being transformed. It's taking billions of gallons of water to irrigate these fields each year, and hundreds of millions of dollars of investment to make this China's wine country.
I've been to every other wine region in the world, and I thought, wine near the Gobi Desert? Impossible, right? Just unthinkable. But boy, wine near the Gobi Desert. It is a reality, and it's a big reality.
So big that wine expert and author Karen McNeil knew she had to come to China. She's updating her book, The Wine Bible, writing for magazines, and trying to understand these really New World wines.
I taste 3,000 wines a year and have for 30 years.
That's a lot of wine.
That's a lot of wine. Some woman has to do it, Seth. Don't try to take my job.
I was just thinking, that sounds good.
So I think I have a good understanding of when a wine has potential and when it doesn't.
We first met her in the tasting rooms of Shanghai, where she kept taking notes.
I've never tasted a Cabernet like this.
Wine importer Heng Rui says China's wine producers are now developing their own flavors, not just copying others. We're influenced by Western media, Heng said, and now more Chinese are traveling overseas and bringing back wine culture.
I thought, all right, one thing is buying all the great wine in the world. That just takes money. But making wine takes expertise.
Seeing that took McNeil to the vineyards of Ningxia, where she toured.
What is your total production? How many bottles?
60,000 bottles each year.
And tasted, sometimes right from the barrel.
2013, a great vintage in Ningxia.
If the name Ningxia doesn't sound familiar, well, it will.
Oh man, that's really good. Our grandchildren will probably know this as they would know any other wine region in the world.
They'll know Ningxia.
They probably will know Ningxia.
There are about 80,000 acres of vineyards planted in Ningxia. By 2020, they plan to have more than 160,000 acres. That's more than 3 times the amount in the Napa Valley. Napa did it in a century, Ningxia, a decade.
It's fruity, not as complex as French champagne.
Here we sampled a sparkling white inside this sprawling, state-of-the-art winery, part of a $28 million co-investment between a Chinese company and luxury goods giant LVMH.
For LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, to spend this kind of money here is a big thumbs up in terms of its confidence about the Chinese market.
So we start from scratch, and we built up the winery, the vineyards, everything.
Shen Yang is the general manager here at Shandong. He is Chinese, but his English has the slightest French accent.
So I learned winemaking in France. So I want to bring this savoir-faire in China. It's water to irrigate the vines.
Out in the fields, he showed us there are very specific challenges here.
We have to bury the vines every year in every winter, and they bury the vines in spring. So
you're covering them with dirt?
All the wine with dirt, yeah.
To protect them from the wind?
To protect from the wind and cold.
Covering the vines each winter is done by hand, which drives up cost. Then there's the question of sustainability, watering all of these vines in a desert, and supply. Can all of this wine be sold?
It is really a risky bet, but I think the Chinese philosophy has been build it and they will come. And if you build it well, they will come. So we'll just have to see.
Her journey to China in a word, Karen McNeil says she's incredulous.
You know, we thought we knew all of the great wine regions in the world. You know, we know Tuscany, we know Bordeaux, we know Napa. We thought we knew them. The idea that somewhere in the Chinese desert might be the next great wine region in the world, it's astounding.
Here at Pudao Wines in Beijing, most of the selection is still international, but they do have some wines from China, including some from Ningxia. Chinese wine producers are focusing first on selling to the domestic market, but say down the road you should expect to see Chinese wines in the U.S. too. Nora?
All right, Seth Doan in Beijing, thank you. Incredible what they're doing.
I'm glad to see Seth did a little wine sampling there.
I've never heard of a Chinese person with a French accent. That was the first time. That was a first for me.
There you go.